Oh, it's a white party.
Mr. Burns tries to relive his glory days and crosses paths with a mysterious music mogul who throws parties full of excesses. And we also see plenty of rappers, like for example Snoop Dogg,
I seen JG, pimp, lie, and rob.
betrayals and strange friendships.
You make me believe I can fly.
The Simpsons have done it again. They predicted what Diddy was up to even before the rest of the world had any idea. The media is up in flames with allegations connected to Diddy and all the celebs that were allegedly involved with him. And suddenly, an old deleted episode of The Simpsons is resurfacing, which basically hinted at Puffy's infamous Flavour camp. So what does this episode reveal about Diddy, and how does it tie into Hollywood's hidden world? Let's start with this mysterious Simpsons episode that some folks say called out Puff's Flavour camp long before anyone knew what was happening.
After he stopped throwing those parties, he realizes his life lost its spark and complains that modern society doesn't respect him the way it used to. To try and relive the joy of his glory days, Burns is the richest man in town. He had decided to go cheap, and the party was pretty lame. Even the drinks weren't free. However,
so here's the setup. In this episode, Mr. Burns, the classic old school character, is reminiscing about his youthful days. He's feeling all kinds of down, looking back on the wild days he once had. So he decides to throw a party to relive those glory days. But real talk, the party is a flop. It's dead, no vibe, no energy. It's like trying to breathe life back into something that's already gone. Burns and Homer are standing there, just taking it all in when they hear loud music blasting from across the way. Curious, Burns drags Homer along to check it out. And what do they find? It's like stepping into a different world. A massive, lavish party with energy off the charts. It's got everything Burns' sad little gathering is missing. Luxury, excitement, all the stuff that screams wealth and exclusivity.
Oh, it's a white party. Just the kind I used to throw. Although we interpreted the theme a bit differently in those days.
It's like a playground for the rich and famous, packed with people who don't even know who's behind it all. And guess what? It's a white theme party. And guess who else was throwing white parties?
I'm from Cali on the beach, man. Venice Beach. Venice Beach. That's a printer. Give a shout out.
Burns, looking around trying to figure out who owns this place. But nobody can give him an answer. Everyone's just there, vibing, without a clue.
Tell me, where can I find our host?
I haven't met him.
No one has ever met him.
He doesn't exist.
Oh, he's upstairs in his office.
Finally, Burns makes his way over to the guy behind this wild event, a dude named JG who, in case it wasn't obvious, is dressed just like Diddy would be in real life. Burns asks him straight up if he owns the party. Right then, things get dark. Suddenly, Burns and Homer are surrounded by JG's crew, all armed, ready to put an end to the scene.
Are you the host of this incredible soiree? I must tell you, it's the most incandescent, most dazzling...
My name is JG, and nobody crashes my party. Not even you nobodies.
Let's go, Mr. Burns.
What did you say?
Knowing what we know now about Diddy, JG getting all aggressive with his crew surrounding these strangers with guns is very similar to what Diddy used to do.
The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well that we recovered 3 AR-15s.
Anyways, back to the Simpson episode. So after getting all aggressive out of nowhere, JG says, "I love you" to Burns. It's an uncomfortable moment, a weird, out-of-place request that hints at something deeper. And just like that, we see what JG is really about: power, control, and getting what he wants. It's almost like he's saying, if you're in the club, you play by my rules. And for a lot of people, this whole setup felt similar to the stories we're hearing now about Diddy's infamous white parties and Flavour camp.
There's something I've wanted to tell you for a long time, you ruthless monster.
Yeah.
I love you.
Ah!
It's almost like The Simpsons was dropping clues about what was going on long before the rest of us caught on. But it doesn't end here. In another episode, we see Bart Simpson being influenced by a rapper who everyone thought was 50 Cent. But looking back at it now, maybe 50 was hinting at what was really going on in the entertainment world. We all know 50 has been one of the biggest whistleblowers against Diddy for decades. This is all very similar to how Diddy treated Justin Bieber, Meek Mill, The Game, and so many other people who were new to the industry. Allegedly, he would first gain their trust by showing them the high life and then have their way with them.
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose. But it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, you know, telling me they love me and, you know, just turn their back on you in a second.
I started kicking it with Diddy, right? I ran around with Diddy for 2 years, damn near. And this nigga Diddy, we never went to the studio one time, but he was like, yo, I fuck with your demo, that shit, you know, bad boy, but hey, Playboy, hey, here go a watch, Playboy, here go a chain, Playboy. I'm like, yo, we ever gonna rap? This nigga like, nah.
Y'all was doing it for 2 years.
Yo, but the jet leaves at 5. We going to Miami, Playboy. We going to, you know what I'm saying? We going to New York. We in ATL this weekend, Playboy. Pop out. And I was going everywhere with Diddy.
Yeah, man. And gay, not being just full out gay, but hiding it, trying to pretend like he, you know, loves girls and live the rap lifestyle, but really, he's a man fan.
As more details about Diddy's past come to light, folks are connecting the dots between these Simpsons episodes and what we're hearing now. And Diddy isn't the only one feeling the heat. Big names are being dragged in. Cat Williams even jumped into the conversation, revealing that Diddy once offered him $50 million, a deal he turned down multiple times because he didn't want any part of the ugly side of things.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
For years, Diddy's white parties seemed like just another luxurious Hollywood bash. But beneath the glitz, there was a darker side. The Simpsons episode just paints a picture of a secretive, almost cult-like environment where a character with way too much power holds everyone in his grasp. And Burns, like many artists in the real world, doesn't fully understand the danger until it's too late. The line where JG says, "Nobody crashes my party," has people wondering if it's a thinly veiled reflection of how Diddy allegedly kept a tight grip on his camp. Well, this isn't the first time The Simpsons has dipped into these kinds of predictions. We've seen them predict Trump's presidency, the invention of smartwatches, even the global pandemic.
How did The Simpsons predict this so well?
So, when this episode started circulating again, people couldn't help but wonder if The Simpsons had some kind of insider knowledge about what goes on in the music industries. And while it might sound like a reach, you've got to admit they have a knack for getting it right in ways that make you think twice about what you're watching. And you already know that the internet had a lot to say. One user said they did not predict, they just knew. Another person said JG as in Jay-Z, and it looks like Diddy, and that woman who likes Beyonce. One thing's for sure, this Simpsons episode seems to have hit the nail on the head. Did the writers have some insider knowledge, or was it just wild coincidence? Either way, they've been spot on about real life events time and time again, and this episode with Diddy, or JG as they called him, seems to be no exception. Maybe it's time we start taking the Simpsons more seriously, because if there's one thing they've proven, is that they've got a way of showing us what's coming, even when we're not ready to see it. So, what do you think of everything going down down with Diddy's case. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I'm bringing you the real scoop, so stay locked in.